All right, now I'll call the meeting to order at 7:04. Let's see, the first order of business is announcements. Are there any announcements? I think I have one. We got a letter from the Addison County Sheriff. Let's see if I can bring that up. Addison County Sheriff talking about re-examination of policing. I was like, really? You know, I included it in your packet, or I should have.
Yeah, I read it.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, he was interested in.
Well, that's the state police, not the sheriff.
That is the state.
Right.
You're correct. It's the state police, and I think that they would like us to join in a community meeting. So I think that would be great. We could take it up under other business and just I guess say that we'd like to give a written response that says, yeah, we'd love to do that. That's better. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do we need to designate a representative or something so there's somebody who can speak for us in that, or
Yeah,
are we
we
just
might.
gonna let them go and observe?
Yeah, we you know, what we'll do is we'll tell them that we're interested, and then at our next meeting or something, we can appoint somebody to go.
Okay.
It sounds like they're just started kicking it off. Okie dokie. Any other announcements? I'm shuffling stuff around behind the scenes. Warrants, I guess, approve the minutes. I have the minutes. I sent them along. Select board minutes. There they are. There they are. Lovely. I don't know. Have you guys had a chance to review these minutes? Are there any changes that you'd like to have be made to them?
I have reviewed the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've reviewed them,
Okay.
but then I put them up there, so I probably read right through something that needs to be changed. So if nobody has a suggested change, I'll move to approve them as written.
I second that.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes of the August 10th, 2020 Select Board meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And
Aye.
opposed? And abstentions. So that passes unanimously. Let's see, what's next on the agenda? Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated tonight. I think we had one overweight permit, and Betsy, you got that information?
I did. Yep, it was Saunders Trucking.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
We have, to the best of my knowledge, we have 2 warrants to look at. Let's do the oldest one first. This appears to be an accounts payable warrant. Hold on, Hey, Kathy. Let me mute myself briefly here, but no, that didn't work.
Looks like the heat and humidity is going to break on Wednesday.
That would be nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to fall weather. I don't like this heat.
Yeah.
Well, at least some nights have been a little cooler.
Yeah, the nights
Yeah,
are
they
better.
have been some good sleeping weather.
Yes, it has. I never put my air conditioner in this entire summer.
Oh, you're crazy, Paul.
This
That's
is the
crazy
summer you
talk.
need it.
I know. I'm just acclimating to the, I'm
There you go.
acclimating to my reality.
I apologize. I could put a call into the assistant town treasurer to try and help us through the municipal tax rate, but I don't think she can do it over the phone or by Zoom. Anyway, this AP, before we get into it, it's accounts payable 00812. Betsy, I apologize. I should include you when I send these data things out so you can look at them all.
It's okay. I can, as long as you scroll down and I can see the final number, I'm good.
Yeah. And the final number is $75,439.97. Paul, you were going to call. Did you get a chance to email, text, or otherwise about plumbing supplies? You had some questions there.
Oh, with Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I went over and I saw what he was doing. It's, he had a huge tank set up, which I assume was the
Chloride?
thank you, chloride. I mean, he chose a particular way of doing it based on the fact that he wanted to do a gravity feed to the tanks and the trucks.
Yeah.
And yeah, it worked out. I mean, I was just very curious as to the situation, and never even thought about the chloride because I'd watched the invoices for that, and I assumed that the trucks had already put a lot of that already out, but obviously I was wrong.
So the big, it looks like, just taking a quick look at this warrant, the big things on there is a $12,000 for our county taxes, $16,000 for our fire station note, and $40,000 out of the ANAC fund for the last resort farm.
Pretty much useless without a brick.
So is there a motion to approve this AP warrant? Or would you guys like to discuss it? Is there something you want to look at?
This is John. I'll move to approve it. Unfortunately, I can't read the total, but I think maybe Betsy's already got that.
Yep. The total's 75,439.97.
Yeah. So I'll move to approve the AP 00812 in the amount of that Steve just indicated.
I'll second that, Mary Kate.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And opposed and abstentions. Thank you. Let's see, the other warrant that we have for tonight is a payroll warrant, PR 00817 for a total of $9,646.02.
But before you go, does anybody have any or?
This is John. I'll move to approve PR 00817 dated August 17th in the amount of $9,646.02.
I'll
Second that.
All right.
That's fine.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And opposed? And abstentions? Awesome. Take this down. Where are we now? Oh, an insurance claim. Very good. Let's see if I can find that guy. So there was a claim for,
Undefinitive.
there it is.
Indefinite.
Yeah.
Indefinitive.
This is-
Somebody needs to mute a microphone
Yeah,
there or something.
yeah, that, it's getting out. I can't hear. There
Thank
go.
you.
So, Steve,
Yes, ma'am.
I think you're jumping ahead of yourself.
Oh, sorry. What I miss?
Public comment
Oh, I'm sorry, Jamie.
and letter of support for the grant application.
I don't know what the heck I'm up to. Jamie Schulte, please.
Hey there. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, so I guess I'll keep it real quick. I know there's a lot to do tonight. You know, and at risk of being the guy who brings up this topic repeatedly, I guess. You know, I remember back at the meeting on July 27th, kind of raised a concern about indoor meetings of, you know, town committees and whatnot. I think that concern remains or becomes increasingly relevant as we move into the fall and the winter. We've had a couple of really nice outdoor meetings at the rec field and such, and actually at the fire station, and I think that's a good option. But as we get indoors, it makes sense to me that, you know, we need to think about how that works and make sure that it's accommodating of everybody's, you know, positions on the various safety measures such as masks and whatnot. So at a minimum, that means a good Zoom option, right? Or phone option for people to join if they're not comfortable being in a building. And then, you know, where the audio is workable and that kind of thing. And if we are going to be inside, you know, it occurs to me that retailers, for example, can refuse entry, which is in addition to the normal state rules on, you know, masks and such. I don't see why we couldn't make a rule that says, you know, essentially if you're indoors, you have to have one on. Otherwise, call in or do your business over Zoom, right? There's different options there. But, you know, I, for one, am not a big fan of being kind of in indoor spaces anyway at this point. But I think, especially if some people are not, you know, sort of following any particular procedure, right? Especially indoors for a couple hours for a committee meeting where the air is circulating around and whatnot. So there's that concern. And I kind of have a lesser concern, which I think has played out a bit too much probably in the last couple of days around the, you know, recycling center, but it's related to that where, you know, the protocol kind of for handing the trash hauler money and such is a bit lax at times and probably could be tightened up. Obviously masks are less of an issue outdoors. I'm not a stickler for that, but, you know, if you're kind of walking up to somebody that's not wearing one and you're handing them money and there's an unnecessary amount of contact there. And lastly, you know, I don't think most people are willing to make an issue of it, apparently, because I'm the only one doing it. So either I'm on an island or, you know, for every person that's commenting on this topic, there's probably 50 that don't want to get involved in it, but they're, you know, of similar mind, right? So just putting that out there. And I especially think the committee kind of meeting or a town hall kind of interactions are the primary concern, indoor spaces. And then secondary would be, you know, other things happening on town property, basically town functions. I think we have probably as much latitude as we want to control that. Honestly, if a retailer can, why can't a municipality? So that's my comment.
No,
Can
thanks.
I add to that real quick
Sure.
as a DRB person? With the Zoom, like a hybrid in-person Zoom option, Jamie mentioned a little bit, but the technology, we need better technology, I think, for it to work better. Because like tomorrow night, we're going to have my laptop. You know, that's really going to be it.
Yeah,
to do it.
You need an external camera with a good microphone. They've done that at Mount Abe a couple times, and
Yeah. So the
really
problem
can't-
is,
you can't use a laptop to aim it at the whole group for somebody else
Right.
outside to tune in.
so then the question becomes, do we need to buy one for the town? Or, I mean, I know Steve, you've used your personal one. So, or we could decide to meet all remote, but I don't know if our board will agree to that or not.
So yeah, on that point, I'm part of 4 committees, right? 3 of which meet just like this, and it works great because all the members are fine with using Zoom. So we're really not impaired at all by that. DRB is a little different in 2 reasons. One, we're handling a lot more paper and looking at a lot more visuals. If we can make all that electronic, which is possible, we're moving toward that, then no problem. But yeah, that particular mix of people does include some that are less able or willing or otherwise, hop into Zoom and be comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So, we've tried a hybrid Zoom meeting with a DRB. And our biggest problem there were 2 big problems. I mean, besides the fact I lugged my television down there. But the biggest problem was I just didn't have a long enough Ethernet cord. I only had 50-footer and I needed 100. But still, it's awkward. I mean, when we do hybrid meetings, it's sort of the worst of both worlds. It's pretty tough.
Yeah.
I mean, the people who are in the room don't listen to the people who are on the screen, and the people who are on the screen don't have access to the materials that the people in the room have. So it's just like, yuck.
Yeah, the folks in the room have to really go out of their way to accommodate the online folks, and
Well,
that's a culture shift too.
One thing I've seen that helps that is the main meeting isn't not being in the room, the main meeting being online. So the chair and the people who are calling the shots are all there online, and you just put a TV screen and a camera in the room for anybody else who wants to go that way.
Yes, sadly, that's not the way that particular committee's working.
Yeah, well, and it's a problem, but that was, when you do that, it tends to shift the focus so it's more equally between
I get it.
the online and the, yeah.
Hey, Jamie, would you recognize that since we went on Zoom, that there have been more participants? I don't know if you've ever been involved in the select board meetings in person in the past, where you came into the town hall. Okay, so would you say, this is a loaded question, wouldn't you say that there's more people actually involved in the select board meetings now than there was before?
Absolutely. Yeah, and the record is right in the meeting minutes, so it would not be hard to produce a percentage increase or whatever.
Right. So I guess one of the other things that I wanted to ask you was, did you go to recycling this weekend?
I did.
What was your opinion on on your event that on the Saturday? Did you?
So I was there just before closing, and it seemed like, if you were talking about the trash hauler and such. Yeah. I mean, it seemed like there was just everybody handing Rick their cash and at arm's length maybe, but that was about what was happening. Of course, it was 10-15 minutes before noon, so I think he was partially closed up and taking last minute people before he left or something to that effect.
Okay.
That's what I observed. I didn't see any bucket.
I just wanted to share my experience. I was there at 11:15. He was standing at the very far end of the truck, more than 10 feet away, with a bucket between him and the end of the truck. And he was, I thought he was very diligent about the fact that he wasn't willing to do anything to get close to me. I was wearing a mask, but I in answer to your, discussion about with the not wearing the mask, I truly believe in everything you said about this. I face it all the time when I'm working in Burlington, but at the same time, there's these people, these vendors that do not do it, and this gentleman at least made an effort to stay like 10 feet away from me when I put the cash into the plastic bucket. So I was just curious if you saw any difference, and I guess you didn't, but I apologize. I think I have a solution for this that he doesn't need to wear a mask, but I think at the same time, I think they are trying.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that if that's how it works. We just need to make sure it works that way.
Yeah, no. I will assist with Lisa to make this more easy for everybody who's not willing to discuss it with somebody. And I agree with what you're saying. I totally agree. There's people who are pacifists who are not going to bring up an argument. I totally agree with you there.
So
I one more item on
Please.
that. I actually spoke to Eric Adams, whose daughter was the recycling center volunteer on Saturday. So he was there pretty much the entire time. And his top of the head summary was, I saw 5 or 6 people not using a mask, didn't seem concerned about it. For the most part, it was people wore them, people kept distancing, the little bucket for the money was out there. And he said where it breaks down is like the last half hour of the
Which is
day.
consistent with what I'm seeing as well, because I'm always there at the last half hour.
Yeah.
there you go. So
I'm that guy that slides
that's
in.
just,
Get
2 minutes to spare.
Get there early, Jamie.
there you go.
And Jamie, you are not the only one complaining. I've had 2 other people. One was a repeat from an earlier complaint who is very bothered by it. And I assume she gets there late too because she doesn't see a bucket there to put something in and has asked a couple times if he would wear a mask. Another person has asked if he had a medical problem. He said, no, I just don't believe this. This is bullshit.
Well, and I've been educated on that topic, and the thought occurred to me to ask, and I didn't, and I guess that's good that I didn't. So I'm fine with that. I think in his particular case, he's indicated that it's his personal preference rather than a sort of a legit issue. But regardless, that's not the point. We have a workaround, which is distance and a bucket or whatever, right?
Which is,
So let's just make
it's
sure that
fine,
happens.
but if he chooses to not wear a mask, it's kind of incumbent on him to
Yes.
to
So that's my
manage the
point. Like, we
process
can't
without
control.
it.
Yeah, exactly, John. We can't control every person, but we can more easily control our providers in town. Those who are doing business on town land.
Yeah, very quickly back to the DRB. I mean,
Yep.
it sounds like you're asking the select board to create a mask mandate, mandating masks for all
Policy,
meetings.
maybe.
At
Mask
least for indoor
policy.
meetings.
Yep.
Well, so here's my question. Can the select board, do you guys have the authority to tell the DRB that you have to meet remote or because we're kind of separate entities that, do you know what I mean?
But we appointed the DRB.
Correct.
I mean, we can unappoint the DRB if we have a mind, but I'm not sure that we can micromanage the DRB.
Right. I guess that was my,
Well, I would, maybe we need to research this some, but we do have the ability to set policy for the town.
Sure.
And just as we'd set some policies for holding not in-person meetings, online meetings, we could set policies for in-person meetings.
Absolutely.
The problem is the recourse for somebody who says, I'm not going to do it is you're fired. And I'm not sure that that's necessarily the best recourse.
Well, don't we have a state law that says you have to wear a mask indoors if you're not that,
if it's not, but somebody
pretty
could claim a medical exemption.
I think
there's
we
the
have
medical exemption, and I'm pretty sure the law says if you're not able to maintain 6 feet.
Right, and you can maintain
there
6
are
feet in the
apparently
fire
some
station.
people who are not happy with, even if they do maintain 6 feet, being shut in the fire hall or the town hall with a group for an extended period, 6 feet. And there is some science to back that up, that 6 feet is not enough when you're in a poorly ventilated room.
Is a mandate and a law two different things, Mary Kate?
Yeah, so, we can create a policy of the board, which I think is what the mandate, a mandate is another term for us creating a policy that mandates that people wear masks versus there being a state law.
Yeah, I think that's where the confusion is, because a mandate, people hear mandate and they go, I don't know what a mandate is. I know what law is. Law means I got to do it.
Well, policy is all we can set.
Right.
We have policies and ordinances, so I misspoke for the mandate.
Well, our
Oh,
DRB
it's a
meeting
policy
tomorrow.
mandating certain behavior, right?
Right, just so.
Our
Enforce.
DRB meeting tomorrow night will be an interesting, I guess, guinea
so-
pig again, because Jamie's gonna try it remote.
So are you all gonna try it remote, Jamie?
No, I'm gonna be there. So the plan is to be outside while it's light out. And I'll try to figure out how to do that so Jamie can still participate remotely. I'll just sit in the doorway, I guess. And then, because it gets dark early now. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I don't know that
almost,
we can do the whole meeting outside
Yeah.
unless well, there's lights, I guess. but-
right. We don't start till
Also
7:30.
mosquitoes.
It's almost dark.
So I think, yeah. Yeah,
I'm cool with doing it remote, but like, and I know Jamie is too, but
I'm sure.
You've got at least one
him
member
and I
on
might be
there
the
who
only
has
people
no-
that show up.
See, I think you've got at least one member who claims not to have the ability to and has no interest in getting that ability.
Yep. Okay.
But
I think we should take this up because I do want to keep all the members safe, right?
Yep.
So we need
Yeah,
to.
and there also may be people who are feeling disenfranchised because they're not comfortable coming to a meeting unless people are wearing masks.
So yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think I agree with Mary Kate. I think we should make it an agenda item at our next meeting.
That's fine. Our next meeting is going to be 3 weeks. Well, we've got to set the municipal tax rate. We're probably going to have a special meeting. Okay. I think that's great.
All right, thank you very much.
Jamie, thank you for bringing the topic up. I believe we're done with public comment. We're on to a letter of support grant for a grant application for ADA door openers on the new building. I think I have no, let me see. I do have a copy of the letter. I'll bring it up. Draft, Russell Memorial Library. Oh, it's marked up, but I don't need to show the markup. I'll show. Stop it, final. So, Mary Kate, you wrote this letter. I thought it was a great letter, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, I was approached by Melody Cody to draft a letter in support of a grant application for the library, and it's for doors, some presentation ADA compliant doors. They're not required by law, but they want to have them installed so to make it more accessible. Presentation equipment and library furniture. They're not sure if the library furniture comes under the grant, but are added that in. So there was a little back and forth, and the determination was it would be best coming from the select board as a whole. So I drafted something for the select board to look at. And then Teresa Schwegel is attending the meeting to answer any questions anybody might have. I just did it today, so that's sorry about that in terms of everybody getting copies of it. Melanie did have also a couple of changes, Steve.
So I probably don't have the most recent. Do you want?
Yeah, but they're just really, just some sort of typo type changes. So
that's great. Yep. So, Teresa, do you know how much money you're asking for yet?
I do. Thank you, by the way. This letter is very well written and very thorough. We have 2 other letters of support coming, I think one from the Planning Commission and one from a teacher. And what this grant does is to double what our library's capital campaign has already, the funds that have been raised. So thus far we've raised about $20,000. So we're looking at another 20 if we were, and they don't guarantee that they would fund the whole thing, but that's why there are different pieces. That's why we're saying the ADA equipment, yes, please. And if there's money left over, could we please have presentation equipment? Because we don't have that for the new space. And then finally, if there's anything left, which I'm not sure, Melanie's been working with Chris at Bellwether on how much those 88 openers would actually run. So if there's any left over, it would be for furniture. I think, what we have now, the 20,000 we have now is not going to be enough for anything in 1,200 square feet, even though we plan to move our library shelves. But the library board feels first and foremost that it's important to be able to get into the building safely. And so the ADA compliance pieces are a no-brainer for us. We said, whatever we can do to get those, let's do that for the whole project and involve the building committee and have that be something that is just a given.
But we don't know at this point how much that part of this.
We don't. I think, Stephen, you can correct me. I think when we went over, I sit in on some of the building committee meetings, and I think 2 months ago they had said it was something like $14,000 for those ADA openers if we had them on the front, inside and out.
Yeah, I can go.
Quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I'd have to dig to come up with a number.
Yeah.
At the moment.
Well, I can give you that information in the coming days. We're waiting to hear from Chris again from Bellwether on the final estimate of what that would be.
Yeah, but it's in that ballpark. It's not like it's a couple $1,000 or something.
No, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Good. So I guess I would entertain a motion to approve writing a letter of support from the Moncton Select Board to the Vermont Department of Buildings and General Services in support of the grant that is being applied for. Maybe that's badly worded. I'll take another wording if somebody wants to try.
Yeah, I don't know how else I'd word it anyway, but we have the letter, so it's written, and I assume we're talking about as written or with the minor corrections that Mary Kate said. So,
sure.
I move that the select board submit the letter drafted by Mary Kate to the Vermont Department of Buildings and General Services, Human Service and Educational Facilities Grant Program to seek a grant for door openers, presentation equipment, and library furniture.
That's a heck of one. Do I have a second?
I'll second Mary Kate.
There you go. Thank you, Mary Kate.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion?
Did you get that, Betsy?
No.
I just moved the title of her piece, the to piece, and basically the last line of that first paragraph. Seeking a grant for the last line of that first paragraph.
I'm sorry, who seconded that? Mary Kate?
Mary Kate.
I did, yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
There you go.
And discussion, I would just say, you guys are doing a great job, and thanks for all your work.
You bet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for finding this grant for sure.
Thank you.
Interesting. All right. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And opposed and abstentions. So that passes unanimously. Teresa, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too.
Good night.
All right. Now we're on to the insurance claim. I knew we'd get there eventually. Now I have to find it. Aha. Voila. Let's see. So, I'm not sure You know, we've asked to sort of be in the loop for all of these insurance claims. I'm not sure if we want to be in the loop for these, but whatever the board's thing. This is an insurance claim for $404.09. Ben Tebow claims he was traveling on Tyler Bridge Road in Stonesfell from the town of Moncton truck and damaged his windshield.
That, you know, my experience in doing construction and being behind trucks and so forth, I've had 3 windshields cracked over the last 20 years of my life. And I'm not sure what the proof that the insurance company needs from the affected claimant as to how that works. I mean, I to me believe that it's just bad luck, but
Yeah.
I think that have we had other claims in the past? I'm curious from a new
Yeah, from stones
newbie.
coming off the trucks, yes. We've had
This
a
is a
couple.
new one.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, if we had repeated incidents of it, I would understand that we have a problem, but sometimes people are just out to take advantage of things. I'm not saying that this person did. I think that it may very likely be the fact that stones did come out, but I do know that most of the time that it happens is because a car is falling too closely to a construction truck.
that's true.
That's because I've done it.
Yeah. Oh, and that's one of the things that we could do, right? Is we could put signs on the back of our truck that says construction vehicle do not follow.
Yeah, or
Right.
construction vehicles stay 500 feet back or something.
Well,
Yeah.
that's where a lot
Do
of
we
them
know,
have it.
I'm not sure what the regulations are, but when we're hauling stuff like that, is it supposed to be tarped or covered or something?
Yeah. Again,
And if it was, I mean, I'd have a lot less need to see something like this if whoever was driving the truck said, yes, it was me. You know, shit happens, stuff fell off the truck as we were driving down a bumpy road.
yeah.
Um,
So I mean, Ben Hoedel filed the claim, I guess. That's my understanding.
Well, if I know that we do not tarp our trucks. So my inclination is that this gentleman probably has a rightful excuse because of the fact that we do not have a tarp system on our vehicles. So
and is it
as much as I
required?
no, but if your insurance company decides that you're a liability based on the experience, yeah, you are. You know, like for instance, when I bring any waste to Casella's, if it's not tarped, it's automatically $25 upcharge when you run into the scales. But with trucks, with stone, you know, most of them don't have tarps. Even Ferrisburg doesn't tarp. Charlotte doesn't tarp. And, you know, I think that the insurance coverage or the cost of the tarps is really expensive. That's why they don't do it. It's cheaper to take that one hit like this particular incident than it is to go out there and buy that tarp system, which half the times the guys aren't going to throw over the truck anyway.
Yeah.
So my personal opinion is we move on and give this gentleman he probably deserved it. He was probably following too close, but that's not a matter for us to discuss because we haven't seen it. But
Okay, I guess I would entertain a motion to you know, approve the claim made to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Or how's that? Approve the insurance,
Claim from Ben Tebow.
or the insurance, the passive invoice number 2200474, that 220-0447-A01 in the amount of $404.09. I mean, what'll happen to us, we don't pay that amount, obviously enough. We, it takes up our insurance rates in a minor way.
Well, my understanding from looking at the bill is it's deductible. It's under our deductible, so we're paying it. Is that not correct?
I don't know the answer.
I think you're correct. That's the way I read it.
Okay.
We're covering his deductible through the insurance, which they can do this little pass by, and believe it or not, the windshield costs about that much anyway. So
Yeah, from what I see, there's $1,000 deductible on our policy. The windshield probably costs $409, and
Oh, I got you.
that's
I
correct.
believe that's correct. You are correct. I am mistaken.
Do we know, is the insurance adjuster actually recommending that it be allowed? Or are they
That's
just saying
my-
we received this?
Yeah.
As
Yes.
claims, they've made a recommendation, but
Well, if Ben filed
Okay.
filed it,
yeah.
that sort of puts us in
Yep.
in a position.
Okay. So we're going to approve this insurance claim. Can I have a motion to that effect?
Is everybody always waiting for me to make these motions? I don't
Yeah.
mind somebody else chiming in.
Well, John, you're such a big talker. Do it.
I'm moved to approve the payment on claim number, whatever the number was, let's see, 202-00447-A01 in the amount of $404.09.
I second it.
Thank you, Paul.
Steve, can you do a roll call for this? Because I have to
Abs-
abstain.
Absolutely. Paul Lowe,
Yay.
Mary Kate,
Abstention.
John McNerney,
Aye.
Steve Pilcher votes aye. Thank you. Yep, because you do work for VLCT, Mary Kate. Okay, set the
Sorry.
municipal
Yes.
tax rate. It must be on here. There it is. It's hard for me to show you what my problem is with this.
Stephen, can we push this forward to a special meeting?
Yes, we can. And we're going to anyway, because it's the tax rate is pretty close to what I think it ought to be, but it's not quite done just so. And I
Yeah.
need you guys to look at the select board, the figures that I give at the end of the year at town meeting against this document, and against the 95,000 that we've taken out of the highway budget, and budget items from 2009, and some other expense items, the budget items that we had related to the town hall expense in the current budget. Those can all get wrapped into the new loan, but there's some other stuff going in here that's just right. So yes, I would ask that we take this up at what'll probably be a special meeting somewhere in the next 2 weeks.
Two questions, Steve. First one, you said 2009. I assume you meant 19.
I did mean 19, sorry.
And the other one was, is there anything you want us to look at before we move on and do this for next meeting, or think about for that, or is it not ready for that yet?
It's okay. Let's see if I can bring it up so that we can all look at it in a way that makes sense. Okay. Here
Can
is.
I add, Stephen, I mean.
I know, I'm not
We
going
can
to spend a long time on it.
Okay.
All right. I really am not going to spend a long time on it.
Okay.
let me see if you guys can, let me blow that up a little bit so you can see it better. Okay. Very quickly. Our general fund balance, is correct. 59,000, 59,000. Estimated revenues, $219,000. Estimated revenues, $219,000. General fund expenses. General fund expenses are those things that are in the budget that we told people we were going to spend on general fund. That should be a total of $316,000. Instead, he's got a number in here that's 556, and it's like, not quite. So there are things that are going on. We do have these reimbursements that we're going to talk about. We do have 95,000 taken out, but not quite that way. These reimbursements, the reimbursements for the new town hall, the only things that count are things that were in the 2019 budget that happened after August of 2019, because we can't go too far back, I think. Well, I'm not sure how far back we can go. So that's like maybe $30,000. And what was in the 2020 budget that was passed by the voters in March, that's like another $10,000. I don't think there's some $99,000 in there. So I just don't believe this particular piece of the calculation.
Okay.
And then I have the same problem down in the highway deficit. Highway deficit's correctly reported at 59. The highway revenues are correctly reported at 335. And then the highway fund expenses. So the highway fund expenses should be $1,072,000 and change, minus 95,000. That doesn't quite add up to 989. So I just don't understand. I feel like he's wrapped some current expenses into this tax calculation that has to match kind of what we told people at town meeting, minus the 95 that we're allowed to do, and some of these other wrapped up expenses that we can do as well, because we told people we were going to do that. But there can't be other extraneous things like expenses that have happened between March and August on the town hall can't be wrapped up into this calculation. And I think that's what's happened. Anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, I would like to defer this until a meeting either next week or the week following.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, John?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And I sort of apologize, it just didn't get there. I do have a budget status report. If you guys want to look through that, if you want to defer that as well, I'm perfectly willing to do that.
Sounds like it may make sense to kind of go through the budget status report and then look at the municipal tax rate, because some of those numbers will transfer. So to put it off to next meeting, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think some of the numbers transfer and some don't, and I think this is where the issues are arising in that tax rate calculation. But there's no harm with that, and I only got a text file, so I couldn't really. I find it much easier if we can look at it in our original budget. And look at the actuals against our budget looks like, hey, hello. What do you mean? Oh, I see. Look at that. You got to be smarter than the tool to use it. There you go. You remember this budget that we did way back when. I think it's a little easier to look at it here, where we can not only see what the 2019 actual was, but what the budget numbers were on the previous years. It just gives us more information than the budget status report does. So sure, I'm game for that too. North Pond Road reclassification. So I'll start that. I had a conversation with Jim Carroll about this issue. And his advice was that we should rather than discontinuing the road, that we would be better served by making it into a town trail.
A town what?
A
town
trail.
what?
A town
Okay.
trail. And his reasoning was that when you try and discontinue a road, you often get people who would like to retain that right of way for mountain biking, fast trails. There's any number of people who will come out of the woodwork to protect the public right of way. So that was his thought.
And
On
whose
that
thought-
base, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Stephen, who made that comment?
Jim Carroll, our town attorney.
Oh, okay.
Um,
And that's regardless of whether anybody's using it that way now. He just says it just brings them out.
he does.
Okay.
So the Pond Road, if you look at our parcel map, actually goes between Rotax Road, the north portion, goes from Rotax Road all the way out to Davis Road. It goes all the way out to the Full Belly Farm, which
The
I
right of
wasn't
way.
aware.
The right of way goes.
Yeah, the right of way does.
Yeah.
There's half of it is marked on our maps as an untraveled and unpassable road.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea because my road here where I live on is a class basically considered a trail based from my lawyer. And what it does is it allows the town to still have the rights to make sure there's a right of way for anybody who does residential development to maintain the legal status for emergency vehicles to pass. But it does not allow the town to have any responsibility for maintenance of any kind. And I think that's a good idea, actually.
Required by notice. So Mary Kate points out that there's some issue with some of these dates. This is the notice of hearing. I think that we can push it out, but it would be nice to get stake in the ground as to when it was really when we would like to do that. We has a required. So we have to give 30-day notice, is what Mary Kate has pointed out. So my September date there doesn't work. But I can easily change it to another date certain.
And this has got to be in the paper too, right? So it's 30 days from the time it appears in the paper.
Yeah. So I mean,
and it has to be warned by all adjacent landowners.
Yep.
By certified mail.
Yeah. So, I think you're talking something in October I was trying to pick an off day for us. Maybe it's October 19th.
Right, so I think we could probably approve this with giving you authority to amend the dates in order to give a 30-day notice, or unless you want to put the date in there now, but
No, that's fine.
yeah, so I move to approve the warning on reclassification of Pond Road and give the board chair authority to modify the dates therein in order to ensure that there's a 30-day notice.
I'll second this, John.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 And opposed? And abstentions? All right. And away we go. That should be an interesting little meeting. That'll be an interesting hearing.
When you do your dates, make sure you have the date right, because I noticed you had Monday, September 20th, and then Monday, September 21st on there.
Yeah, thank you. I will give it my best shot. Where are we? We are at builders risk terrorism. The stuff that comes across my desk sometimes is mind-boggling. Okay. So I got this email and said, that we could either accept or reject. They want to know whether we want terrorism insurance on the building, on the new building.
This is just during the construction phase?
Yes.
And who wants to know this? I'm sorry, I just want to get it right in the minute.
This is from
Taylor? No.
This is
Naylor and Brand.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's really from the it's from Acadia Insurance.
Okay.
Yeah. It would cost us
$20.
yeah, $12 until December, and then the first of the year is going to kick up to $20.
And our bond issuer doesn't require it. I guess a bond's a little different than a mortgage, but
Yeah, no.
okay.
No.
For 12 or 20 bucks, I don't care one way or the other.
I'm getting a whole bunch of like, okay, I don't really care.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money. I agree.
All right. Based on the wording, I move to accept the additional cost of $20 for the, I can't read it.
Terrorism
Acadia-
insurance?
Arcadia Insurance, terrorism insurance. If we can't afford $20, I don't know why.
It's $20 a month. But still
Well,
not a lot of
if you
money.
look at the definition of what they call terrorism, it could be anybody who decides to do an act. It could be a citizen in our community decides to throw a bomb on the place. All right.
Yeah.
We have now created a issue where terrorism is not somebody from out of our country. It is
course not.
somebody who creates a harm to citizens in the U.S., even if they're U.S. nationals.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know, for $20 a month. I mean, how long is this policy on for, Stephen? Isn't it just for the duration of the construction?
It's
right?
just for the duration, so it'll probably be over by April. So you're only talking about $100.
Yeah, I mean,
I missed that it
all right.
says per month.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's $12 times 8. Well, $12 times 4, which is 48, plus $20 times 4 again, so you're at whatever, $130 total cost.
Okay.
I'll second.
There you go. Any more discussion? So, all those in favor of electing to purchase terrorism coverage as an add-on to our builder's risk insurance, please indicate by saying aye.
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 I guess I'll go along with the group and say aye. Sure. What the heck? If some
It's probably a more valid argument than anything else as far as protecting our investment.
Okay. Review. Our next piece is a review delinquent tax policy for temporary changes. I think Bill, who couldn't attend this meeting, said, I'd really think that we should just go ahead and, get rid of the 8% on a one-time basis, the 8% delinquent tax penalty. And we ought to vote on it. So I'll bring that forward as what Bill Martin mentioned, and I sort of have to agree.
So-
I'm inclined to do the same, but I don't see any rush. I'm happy to wait till Bill's here as well and do it, push it down the road a little bit. This is just through, just for this 1 year.
Yep.
And
I
just to be clear, we're not
agree.
talking about retroactive. It's new delinquent bills happening this year.
Yes. It's
And-
only it's
What period?
yeah. It's that one period. That after a 2-week or 1-week grace period in November, if you can't get your taxes paid or make some sort of agreement with the treasurer, the delinquent tax collector, you get binged with 8% right off the top.
And
I have to agree with Mary Kate in that I would like Bill to provide his argument as a select board member to address the situation. I certainly understand all of it, but I would like to have his particular interests cited on as a matter of note.
Okay. So we will take that up when we have a full select board to discuss it. New town offices and library status. I have 2 things there quickly to talk about. I trust that some of you have stopped by the work site to see. The good news is that they have dug down. We found no additional foreign material. We didn't find any ledge. They are currently, when I last looked, they were putting up forms, getting ready to pour the footers for the various sections. The other piece of new town offices and library status, I have been, taking along on the other side is how to sell the old town hall and the Russell Memorial Library, both of which have their own little glitches. The Old Town Hall currently does not sit on its own parcel. It shares a parcel with the Monkton Ridge Cemetery Association. Chris Purley was nice enough to do some preliminary research, and he found, I guess, I don't know how many of you know the history that the town hall used to be down in the borough, and the residents of the Ridge paid to have it moved to its current location. when that was moved, the town hall was, there's a deed deeding the land that it sits on, as well as out to the street, all the way out to the street, which is good. I think that to go forward on this part of the project, I probably should get a title search done, perhaps locally from, Kevin Brennan, to ask him to do a full title search on that, so that I know that I have, that the town has the right to be able to sell that piece of property and deliver a warranty deed to that effect. So.
I mean, typically, right, the buyer is doing a title search, but it sounds like you have concerns about whether or not we can sell it.
Well, I don't think the deed we got, I guess I'd like to know, yes, I included the deed in that little data packet, if any of you are really interested.
Yes, that was like Shakespearean writing.
So it might not be a title search you're looking for. You might just be looking for an opinion that, yes, we do have the right to sell it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess it is a warranty deed recorded in the book.
Yeah.
So,
Right, but the language may not necessarily be correct based on current law, right, Mary Kate? I mean, is there a possibility that maybe this may not have been drawn up?
It should be fine.
yeah,
The law changing won't change it. There weren't any impact from any law changes, but yeah. So we may want to have just Kevin, look at the deed and see if any issues arise from just reviewing the deed. But a full, a title search is usually a 40-year search, and I don't think there's any need to go back 40 years.
okay, well,
Full title search.
And
okay,
you won't find another title within 40 years anyway. So
no, you won't, you won't.
you pretty much have it right here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll have Kevin take a quick look at it, or I can have, Kevin's probably, I hope, quicker than Jim Carroll. Jim Carroll's, everybody's pretty busy. Yep.
You're concerned about, do we have to subdivide the cemetery off of it or something? Or
wait, I'm going to ask the listers, because I think that there should, if I have a deed that shows I have a separate parcel, they need to create that parcel. I don't think it's a subdivision. I'm not trying to create a new parcel. It's just one that everybody assumed it was all part of the town.
It's just that our current tax map doesn't show it, but the deed does.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I presented this data to the listers. And I don't know that they've done anything with it yet.
Yeah. And presumably way back then you didn't need a subdivision permit to do that. So
yeah, that was 59 was before our zoning regs.
Right, or the state subdivision regulation. So shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. I don't think I have any huge updates on the emergency management director status.
Other than that, you'd still like one?
What?
Other than that, you'd still like one?
Yeah, I would love to have somebody else pick it up.
Well, and I meant to bring this up under other business and I forgot. And I think I mentioned it to you personally when I saw you, but I would suggest, we have a new principal at MCS.
Yeah.
And given that school's going to be starting, just as the emergency management coordinator, you might want to talk with him about.
I will.
With the school district, and maybe even just invite him to introduce you all to him, because I personally, as a citizen and a parent at school, would like to see more town school.
Well, yeah, and I at least need him to make him aware of the local emergency management operations plan that's down there. There should be a copy. It should be readily available so that he knows who to call for what kind of emergency. I think that they have, and I won't swear to it, I think that they may have a, they may have a radio connection to the fire department as well, but I don't know.
But it's worth touching base too, because Cindy Castle left, and she was
Yes.
probably the big institutional knowledge of, oh, I need to call Steve, or I need to call Curtis or something. And
That's true. There's a new school secretary.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she
Okay.
retired.
No kidding.
She left
probably didn't
Vermont.
want to have to break in another new boss.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
He seems like a great guy. I'm impressed with him so far. So,
Yeah.
Good.
John, you've met him, I know. So.
Yep.
John, I think you're up. Infringement of right of way on Jockey Lane.
Yeah. Do you want me to share that thing?
No, I've got it, and
Okay.
I'll just.
So apologize for the late date, but I just got it about an hour. I emailed it out to everybody. So if you haven't seen it, you've at least got a copy.
Yeah.
This was,
Hold
Tim,
on, I'm looking for it, John.
I've already got it up if you want me to share it.
Oh, you're killing me.
So basically, Tim Short, the surveyor, and Jim Carroll discussed what they feel to be the best way forward. And Jim's feeling we've hit the point of diminishing returns and looking for the original, when the road was first laid out, looking for any kind of survey on that. And he doesn't think we're going to find it. So he's suggesting that Tim just, come out, do the survey, find the pins that were there. He was the one who did one in 2001 in the area. Find the ones that are still there, set replacement ones, and, basically indicate the center line or the boundaries of the road to the best of his ability as it existed when he did that last survey. And that last survey predates any complaints from anybody in the area that, hey, things are shifting or moving. So
Okay.
a fair amount of it, the bounds, there's big trees on either side, so some of it's not too difficult, but there will be one point of contention. And the cost for that, where did that go?
It's $3,800.
Yeah,
$37.
$37.95, but yeah. So basically we're to the point where, and that would be, providing paper copies, Mylar copy, PDF, setting any iron rods that may have been missing or buried or whatever. And that's basically what it's going to take us to the next step towards settling this issue. And then Jim Carroll is also supposed to be drafting a letter to the Allens, the landowners who are alleged to have shifted the road. Kind of basically a cease and desist letter. And
John, who's gonna draft that letter?
Our attorney, Jim Carroll.
Oh, okay. All right. I wanted to make sure I understood it was whether it was.
And John, so from a budget standpoint, we would just put this all into our legal budget?
Yeah, you have to ask the treasurer and assistant treasurer that, but the $37.95 isn't really a lawyer's attorney's fee, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it's
but it is part of a legal issue, so I guess it makes some sense.
Yeah, I think I put it in a legal.
I think so too, and plus we have legal fees of, I don't recall how much over the time that Jim has put into this, but we're approaching 5,000.
He warned us this wasn't going to be cheap.
No. His fee's not as bad.
Yeah, well,
it's the surveyor's fee that makes up.
Yeah, well, and Jim's probably not done yet. If he sends this letter and they choose to fight back, that's where it gets.
Well, that's what
could get drawn out.
Yeah, that was the last paragraph of his letter that I read that said this could become a discussion in court.
Yeah.
And then everything goes. Yeah.
I think that if you push forward and at least show due diligence to get a surveyor in there. I think that's the right thing to do. And then even if it did become a problem, I think that the landowner of question who is creating the issue here might retreat from this as recognizing that it may be over his head to go further.
Yeah. I'm just going to do a quick look and see what we spent on
Legal.
legal fees to date. I thought they were here.
I mean, I've been out on that road maybe 3 times in my life, and and John, you certainly have a better understanding. I know that John Barrows is very passionate about everything there, but I'm not sure that the value of the fight, I don't know what the value of the fight is relative to this cost is. And you know this property much better, and I was just curious what your opinion was.
Well, my thought is if it comes to a long drawn out legal battle, we might just say, we've marked where we think it is. If you two want to fight about it, have at it. I don't know if our attorney would agree with that approach, but you know,
I mean, it's a very desolate road.
Yeah. The one thing that'll probably bring it to the head is John Barrows has a parcel that fronts on part of that road that is currently not traveled and not travelable. And that's his daughter's house is going to be there. So he's going to want to extend the traveled portion down to where her curb cut would be.
All right, now
that extension basically is the place in question.
Yep.
Okay, no, that's different. All right, that's good.
And at that point, I think we just say, we've marked where we think it is. If the two of you want to fight it out, have at it.
Yeah.
I don't, it's not our job to get involved in a dispute between the two neighbors, but it is our job to protect the town's interests in the road. So having a survey look at it and say, this is where the road is, then we know what the town's interest is and what the location of that is.
Yeah, I was not saying don't do the survey. I was saying if this comes to being appealed, multiple court dates and all that, I would hope, I would seek to minimize our involvement in those battles, but maybe we can't.
I think all adjacent landowners have a right to know where the road is.
Yeah.
If it is actually a legal road in the town of Moncton, we have an obligation to clarify that.
Yeah.
And I have to say that Jim, when I talked about potential conflicts of interest, the part of the road that is part of Jockey Lane is my southern border. The part in question is not my southern border, but like some of the pins that may be in question, I share a corner there. So Jim has suggested that if there's a vote on this expenditure, I should recuse myself.
Yeah, no, I think that's fine.
Yeah, and I saw that, John. I saw that based on the what you sent to us, that you have a very small point of property that is a part of that that glued in part.
Yeah, and the corners touch and the pin is still there and it's that particular corner, but he said, it just as simple as saying I abstain, you avoid any possible appearance of it. So
Yep.
No,
That's fine. So I would
Before that, you were looking at the budget. I couldn't really see it. What did you see for what we have in legal?
that's so I'm sorry, I was looking at the budget and I am surprised. So our budget, general government, oh, come on, I just saw it. Town office, general expenditures, legal fees, $6,000.
well, that takes care of that.
Well, of which we've already spent, $3,600 already.
some of which is this, but not all of it.
Some of which is this, but not all of it is true.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't understand. We haven't paid the surveyor yet. That's 30.
Right, that's right. That's gonna blow that budget item over. That's why I was kind of like hunting around for uh where can I stick the surveyor? You know,
Um,
is that road maintenance that I can kick it over to the highway department? It's not a very good option.
Well, I guess the question is, you know,
We have to do
if
it.
we had a legal issue, another legal issue come up that forced us to spend another 5,000,
We'd still do it. We
we'd
just,
be, we'd have to, if we had to do it, we had to do it and we'd be over. So we're over. I mean,
Yeah.
the real stink becomes, have you spent more than we're allowed to spend total? And,
right.
and so
Well-
I don't know if I don't know that I'd really seek to find a different place to put it. If that's where it really belongs,
Right.
we just
Yeah.
put it there and okay, we weren't
Well-
omniscient. We didn't know that this issue was going to come up when we set our
No.
budget.
That's right.
Yeah, well, we don't, I mean, unless we classify surveying a property under some other heading like highway or somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, technically it's not legal, but it is part of the legal aspect of trying to determine who has the right of way. That, you know, that argument can be thrown
Yeah.
around, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. It's all right. And all, you know, this is why we appear in front of town meeting and then people get to say, what the hell? How come the legal expenses were so large? And and we get to tell them. All right. I guess I would entertain a motion to approve the proposal for land surveying services from Short Surveying Inc. To resurvey a monumented section of Jockey Lane.
So moved, Mary Kate.
Second, Paul Love.
Yeah, there you go.
You want to put an amount in there?
Sure. Sure. Of an amount, the amount of the for the amount of $3,795.
John, was there any discussion about getting any other surveyors or, you know?
I've not discussed with other ones. One of the reasons that we chose him is because he did the most recent survey that was done there, and he actually set some of the original markers and found some of the ones. So he's got all the data already there.
Yeah. So presumably, if he has that data, he's probably less expensive too.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Less footwork.
Yep. Okay, and we're going to want to do this by roll call. Paul Lowe,
Aye.
John McNerney,
Abstain.
Mary Kay Kelly,
Aye.
and Steve Pilcher, aye. All right. Thank you for doing that legwork, John.
Yeah, and you want me to notify
Tim? Yes.
him, or I don't know, I guess we need somebody needs to sign that so I can send it back to him or something. But
Agent for the town of Moncton. I'll sign it and send it to you, John.
okay.
Phew. Where are we? That's a very good question. Oh, salvage yards.
Salvage
Moncton.
yards.
I asked Chris Furley, and he says, "Oh yeah, I haven't had a chance to talk to so and so." But I got to tell you that the salvage yard, the one in particular, that the guy is actually like, it's neat, but it just seems like it keeps creating more and more junk. Now there's tires there. Now there's like transmissions. There's like,
Is this the one off the end of right across from Bennett Road?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how recently it is, but the number of cars seem to be growing as well.
Yeah, it's
That's the northeast corner, or, I mean, there's three.
there are
I'm
three
sorry.
lots right there. I know.
Yeah, there's 3 lots there, and the one that I see growing is The one who, with the collection of building materials and vehicles and stuff of that nature.
The old lawnmowers and a gas pump and
Oh, yes, correct.
Yeah, he's-
Yes, the gas. Yes,
he's
thank you.
across.
The
Yeah,
gas.
he's across the street from Bennett Road.
Yeah, I would
Solid
say
road.
I would call him on the northeast corner of Bennett Road,
Yeah.
across the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's getting out of control.
It is. And
But I don't know what I don't know. I don't know what the particular rules are on the salvage yards. I guess I'm going to have to educate myself on that. But I do know that I don't know. I think I'm a little perplexed because of the fact that the gentleman is operating a business there of selling reclaimed materials for construction. I don't know him well. I do know that I do speak with him from time to time, and I believe that he looks for antiquities in construction and vehicles of that nature. So it's kind of hard to understand exactly what the parameters are of a salvage yard is for me, but he does have some antiquities of construction of construction materials there that are very expensive to people that are trying to rehabilitate a antique home or a structure, or for that matter, artwork for that matter. So I'm not sure how one defines salvage yards in the sense that whether or not it's a environmental liability or not. I know that there's a few of them there. Any cars that sit there unattended or unregistered, there's certainly some guidelines there, but that gentleman simply has a pile of stuff there that one can consider salvageable, resellable goods. Now, I don't know what our rules are for businesses operating without, in the town of Moncton. So I don't know. I do know that he does sell those goods there. I've seen many people, and I've talked to him, and he sold a lot of stuff out of his property.
Yeah.
So if anybody has some help for me on that, I would be grateful.
it's clearly a salvage yard. It's clearly in our regs that you can't have a salvage yard in any locale in Moncton. If it's a salvage yard, which I think it clearly is, it's
It's
really
definitely a salvage yard, definitely.
Yeah. Well, and it wasn't, if I'm remembering right, there's some state regulation that says over a certain number of unregistered vehicles automatically makes you a salvage yard.
Yep.
Even if you're not engaging in buying and selling them.
That's the part that I don't understand, I guess.
That came up at one point, and the other one, which I don't know if this is true, is that he does not have a business license for that business.
He clearly can't because it's illegal.
Yeah.
No. Well,
Anyway.
the thing that perplexes me is that the fines that I'm reading for the salvage yards is really kind of, it's defeatist. It's a defeatist attitude to try and resolve a problem. $50. I mean,
It's $50 a
$50 a
day
day.
or $200 a day.
right. Now, we would have to now start to register a motion to tell them that they're in direct conflict with our policies and the laws of the state, and that from day one, you're now going to be assessed $50 a day until you resolve these issues. So unless we write them a letter and do this, then we're not really going to be accomplishing anything talking about it.
So
We did write a letter.
Well, in addition to writing a letter, you then have to enforce it. So that legal fee item in the budget,
Yeah.
that's the issue.
yeah, so Paul, we have zoning regs, and it violates our zoning regs. And, you know, we can, I think we already have written him a zoning violation. The problem is that we cannot, as a town, as a municipality, we can't levy fees. The only way we can levy fees, a penalty, like $50 a day, is to go to environmental court. And environmental court, it's expensive.
Take a
And,
long time to make up 50 bucks.
right, and often we don't get any satisfaction. They'll just kick it back to us and say, you guys just make it work right. And it's like, well, that doesn't do it. We can.
Oh.
I mean,
All right. No, I understand. And believe
Betsy.
it or not, I'm not supporting this gentleman's.
No.
I'm not supporting him in any way. I just want to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep hearing the same thing, so I don't know. I guess I'm confused as to what is our next step.
Well, so the other piece of background on this was that there is a state law that he's violating. And so the hope was, since we have no teeth, can we get the state to enforce that? The problem, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm remembering wrong, Steve, was that there's one guy that enforces that for the entire state.
that's true. There's one salvage yard inspector. Betsy, you had
Well,
something.
I just wanted to add, and maybe Steve, and Mary Kate, maybe you know, but I believe some towns have the ability to write municipal tickets for zoning violations, and it's like it's an actual ticket.
Yeah,
And it goes through court if you don't pay it. I don't know how all that works, but
I think
there is that option.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens, and
Right.
I think that that's enforced by the local police. We don't have that ability.
Either that or through environmental court.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the enforcement.
Yeah.
So you get an order from the court for those fees.
Yeah.
But I haven't done that in a long time, so.
It's not just a Moncton thing. It's a common, if we were Virgins or Bristol with our own police department, we might be in a different.
So Paul, I guess I invite you to talk to any member of the select board offline, and we'll sort of. We all find it very. Chris Purley is trying to do the other path, the third rail. We can write zoning regulations and go to environmental court. It costs us a lot of money. Last time we did that, we cleaned up a huge bunch of junk. We were out up front about $8,000, and we've got a lien on some guy's property for $11,000. And a promissory note that it's not clear he's ever going to pay. So it's like, that was not very successful.
We'll get
I
paid
understand.
someday.
Yeah, if he ever
With
sells
the
it.
lien with 12% interest.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
no.
When you,
I'm not naive. I do understand everything here.
Yeah.
So I guess, I will leave it to what you just said before that, is to talk to the other select board members for my own personal education, and
Sure.
leave it at that.
Okay.
I
Town
would
Highway
just,
36 road reclassification. This is John Howard's road. We're in process for one. Do we want to take up the other? Do we just want to?
my thought would be to just see how this goes, so we learn,
Get smarter.
kind of, yeah. And
See how the
then,
Pond Road one goes?
Yeah.
yeah, just so we know the process, and then
Yeah.
make sure everything went smoothly, and then the second time around, and there's a bunch of other ones, it should be a smoother process,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe this will be smooth, so,
That's all right.
but we'll learn more.
I assume that there's been no action on the town credit card policy, town credit card end policy, and cloud storage. I know that nothing's going on there. Other business. I knew I had something on other business and I knew I should have written it down. And is there any other business to come before the board? Okay. Our next official meeting, we're going to have to schedule a special board meeting, but I won't quite know when it is until we have those issues resolved. Our next regular meeting is on September 14th, 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
3
So
weeks.
official meetings, are you hoping to hit a Monday or no?
Yes.
No way of, okay. I'll try to keep those evenings open and
And I'll have to tell you that I'm going to be on Cape Cod on November the 7th, so September the 7th. So,
okay.
but I can
Good.
attend from from anywhere.
Yeah.
Mary Kate did it from Northeast Kingdom somewhere.
Yeah, right. They have internet there.
You
You should be fine
Did
on
you
the
have to-
Cape.
Did you have to crank the phone to place the call?
That's right.
There you go. All right. I guess I would entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved, Mary Kate.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
Okay.
Thanks.